That's true. You can't split more there because you got snacks. Do you know who I am? It would be mutiny. I would be. Oh yeah, Pepsi's like water. Pepsi.
They're not.
No.
It's supposed to be, but no, it's not. That'd be like saying, like, Dr. Hunter. No. That's a taste.
That's where you got framed it by saying it's like a 3-year-old cat. 3 weeks.
It's the same.
I just
I told her whatever you want. Okay. I said we don't. We need her. Okay. All right. So thank you everyone for attending. If you were here for Slate for Student Success, you were in the right spot. If that's not what you anticipated, we will not be offended if you choose to exit to either door in the back and find another session that you're wanting to attend. So we're going to do introductions, and then before I do that, though, I want to kind of gauge who's in the room. The great thing about this is I recognize everybody who's here, which is lovely, but I still am going to make you participate in the small little activity. So tell me if you are a staff member that's assigned as an advisor, any type of advisor on students in there. Hands up. Okay. Okay. Tell me if you're a faculty member who's assigned as a faculty mentor to any students in there. Okay. And then any faculty who are not assigned to students, they're just faculty who are teaching faculty but don't have an advising role. Okay. And then everybody else who plays a part in student success, that's everyone else who's still in this room. You still are impacted, and you're still going to have access to this system. It's just views are different kind of based on goals. We would kind of just want to gauge who was in the audience before we got started. So my name is McGrath. I am the University Registrar at VCU. I've been here for 12 years, and I'm very excited that we are standing up an instance of Slate for Student Success the greatest bunch of individual stars in the world, but if they don't play together, the club won't be worth a dime. So this certainly also applies to UCM. It can apply to what we're doing and what our overall goal is. So we have a lot of brilliant people that work here, right? But if we're not all working towards that common goal of student success, it's just never going to happen. We're not going to be successful. So our agenda for today, what we're going to talk about, so I'm going to go over what are the 3 different instances of Slate, just to kind of catch everybody up if anybody needs a little overview. We're going to talk about what Slate for student success is, why it's important. We're going to go into a little bit of some screenshots of what the faculty and advising portals are going to look like and what Slate looks like when you log in. And then talk about some projects on the horizon and what we're looking at next. So we do have, for any newbies in the room, Slate overall is a CRM platform. So we've been using Slate at UCM since 2017, so we've actually had it for quite a while. We currently own 3 different instances of Slate. So the 2 admissions instances, so the undergraduate admissions, the graduate and international admissions, have been up fully functioning since 2017. Our 3rd instance of Slate, we have been primarily using as a mail merge system. So we've been doing a lot of mass communications out of it for our current students. Yes, so it was decided in 2024 that we were going to change that 3rd instance into a student success platform that will be replacing another platform, which we'll talk about in a minute. We do have 3 Slate captains associated with the three instances. So J.J. Colebrook is the captain for the undergraduate admissions side. Jessica Davis is the captain for the graduate international database, and then myself for the student success database. Okay. So what is Slate for student success? So we're going to think about this platform as just another tool in your toolbox. So it's not necessarily going to be your star player whenever you're thinking about all the resources that you have for current students, but it's definitely going to be up there, like in your starting lineup. Okay. So we are pulling information from multiple different sources on campus. So hopefully kind of give you a better snapshot of your current students. So we are going to include undergraduate and graduate students in the system. So that is fairly new for our graduate population. Our graduate population has traditionally not had any kind of CRM type platform for advising, so this is going to be really useful for that population. We are also pulling in most student types, so new freshmen, new transfer, special credit, all the things. The only population of students that we are not pulling into this platform right now is dual credit. So we're not going to pull in dual credit students at this time. It's going to include currently enrolled students and future admins. So we started with our students that were currently enrolled for the fall 2025 semester. So we pulled all of their data, all of their historical data, and then kind of moving forward, right? So we're pulling all the way up, what are you all out to? Spring 27? Almost. So basically whenever admission starts admitting for spring 27, we're going to start dumping those students in as well. We are pulling from Banner. So Banner will continue to be the official student record. So please continue to use Banner for anything that you need that needs to be official. If we're thinking banner into Slate for Student Success. So Slate for Student Success is not going to be live data. So that's why I said, you know, it should be in your starting lineup, but it's not going to be probably your primary source of data because it's not going to be live data. So please continue to use Banner and the degree audit system if you need kind of a live syndrome. Primarily for faculty and staff use, so students will only engage with Slate for Student Success if they are filling out a form, scheduling an appointment with an advisor, right? So they're never going to log in to Slate for Student Success. That's just not going to be something that students will be using. It is going to replace, does anybody know or have interacted with Achieve? A couple people? Okay. So if you've interacted with that platform, Slate for Student Success will be replacing Achieve, that primarily the undergraduate advisors are using currently as their kind of note-taking and scheduling system. Okay, so the whole theme of the day, like, why is this important? So why are we building out this platform? So we want to keep student success in mind as we are talking more about this. So that is kind of our common goal across campus, student success, right? We all know getting involved, using resources on campus is really important for student success. So if you think about it right now, where can you go to see if a student is involved in an organization? Where can you see if they've visited the Learning Commons? Nobody? If they have an academic alert submitted? Achieve, right? As a faculty member, where do you go to see if a student has a FERPA on file? FERPA waiver. Faculty do not have access to
Only
space
certain faculty based on your role.
in Banner, which is where the FERPA waiver lives. That's it. So all of those different questions I asked, you would probably have to call 3 or 4 different offices, send some emails, right? Try to reach out to some different people to see or get any of that information about a student. So we have really tried to kind of bring all of this information together into one system so that everybody can see, not everybody can see that information about a student to get a better holistic view of that student. If advisors and mentors and success coaches and coordinators, right? If everybody can see all of this about a student, we can all then better serve that student, right? So next we're going to show you some screenshots of what the system looks like and kind of what we've built out so far, but keep in mind that your position, your role on campus may determine what you are able to see in Slate and what you're able to access. And we'll kind of talk about those differences as I show you the different screenshots. Okay, so get out of the way a little bit here. So this is an example of what, whenever you log into Slate, what a student dashboard is going to look like. This is going to be primarily for our advisors, program coordinators, faculty mentors, chairs, deans, right? So basically anybody, as we said before, anybody that is assigned to a student in Banner as an advisor of some sort, or you work in an office where seeing this information is going to be beneficial. So this is what you're going to see. Okay. So kind of on this sidebar over here,
have any student attributes in Banner. So if you aren't familiar with attributes, could be like admission to a program, if they're in an honors college, ROTC, some of those types of affiliations. If they had any student organizations, so this is a good example. So this student does not have any student organizations tied to them, so you won't see that box on their profile. But if a student had or was registered with a student organization, you would then see what that organization is. And then you'll see their current class schedule at the bottom. You'll also see these other little tabs up here. So if a student has a FERPA on file, you will see a FERPA tab pop up with all of that information that it lives right now in Banner on that Space Mountains comment screen. So you'll see all of that information. If a student has any active holds on their account, you'll see a tab pop up with the active holds and who to contact about those holds. If a student has an undergraduate student, how about it? Undergraduate student has requested a change of program, so they have visited their advisor, they want to change their major, add a certificate, whatever. You will then see a change of program tab pop up with all of that information and what that form looks like. Eventually, once we stand up our academic alert system, you will also potentially see an academic alerts tab pop up if a student has any alerts submitted for them. Okay. Similar to if you've been in the admissions databases, the Student Success Platform has a timeline tab. So you will be able to see any communications that the student has received and whether or not they have opened that communication. So that's kind of handy for different offices. And then you'll be able to see, that message, and you'll be able to click on it and see the content of that message. So you'll be able to see all the communications that a student has received. As I mentioned before, a lot of offices have been using this system as a mail merge platform for quite a while. And what was really cool is when we started loading students in, current students into the system, it automatically synced up all of those old communications. So even those old communications you can still see, so that's pretty cool. You will also be able to see, once we get it up and running, any text messages that a student has received. So we are standing up text messages for like the advisors, who else? Program chairs. Yeah, some other people have requested to have a texting line, so you'll be able to see any text messages that a student has received. In this tab, so we've worked really closely with Faith and the Learning Commons, as well as Amber in the Career and Life Design Center. So we are dumping in right now any Learning Commons and Writing Center visits. So you'll be able to see, so the student has, looks like several Learning Commons visits and visits to the Writing Centers. You'll be able to see that. And then Career and Life Design, we recently got all of their event information, as well as if they just visited maybe for a resume review, or any of that. So you'll be able to see all of that. So that's really cool. We do have a small group right now piloting the scheduling system in the advising center. So eventually, once we get all of the advisors in there, you'll also be able to see any advising visits on the undergraduate side. So we're not going to go through every single tab. At the very top, that you also see current term tabs. So you can see a spring 26 tab for that student. jumping over to the course history tab. The course history tab will display somewhat similar information as like if you use the class history tab or list on the degree audit, or you pulled up a student's unofficial transcript. So this will be similar information that you would see on any of those, but we do have a few extras displaying. So you'll be able to see individual CRN numbers, course modality, so if it was in person or online, previous midterm or final grades, and any faculty that was assigned to that particular class. So this has been extremely helpful, especially with faculty, because I feel like you have to go to 3 different banner screens just to figure out who is a previous faculty member for that one class that this student is asking questions about. So this will come in handy for that. We also have a notes tab, so that will display any advising notes or any other notes that anyone has submitted for that student. I have, so the current platform, Achieve, that advisors have been using right now, I have been pulling historical notes out of that system and dumping them into Slate, so we're not going to lose any of that data, so that's important to know as well. Okay, so we have a couple of portals built out. So this one is the advising portal. So if you're an advisor, a faculty mentor, program coordinator, so you all have access to this advising portal. So this first example is Hannah. So she is an undergraduate advisor. So she's going to see a couple different things in here. So she can log in here and see a current list of all of her enrolled students. So she can see a quick snapshot of how many students she has. She can kind of filter out by how many new freshmen do I have coming in, all the things. She'll be able to see any students that have applied for graduation. So you'll see a spring 26 SOT tab. So she can see who's applied and maybe nudge those that haven't applied yet. She is going to be able to see her fall 26 expected students. So if you've been around a while, this is traditionally what we've called not yet enrolled, or NYE. So this is going to help the advisors to kind of pick out those students that maybe haven't enrolled yet and try to nudge them to get them enrolled. So those would be current students for the spring semester that haven't enrolled for a future term yet. The future admits tab for undergraduate advisors is a little scary. Thanks, Chris. Because right now in undergraduate they're obviously seeing all future admits, which for some advisors I think was like 900 students, which is crazy. But I think this tab is going to be helpful for like program coordinators, faculty mentors, things like that. So then they can see, okay, how many future students do I have coming in? Have they registered yet? And kind of what that's looking like. She'll also have an alerts tab. So again, once we stand up academic alerts in this system, she'll be able to quickly see all of her students that have an alert on them. And then again, so some of the undergraduate advisors are using this as their scheduling platform right now. So she'll be able to see all of her appointments that she has coming up, and then the check-in queue, so she can see, have those students arrived? Do I have a student walking in that wants to see me? Any of that. Another example, so this is Jenna. Jenna is a graduate program coordinator. So she has a couple similar tabs. So, right, so she can see all students that are assigned to her right now, and what students she can maybe expect for the fall semester. Any alerts that have been submitted on her students, but she also has this My Programs tab. So as a program coordinator, she can then see all of the programs that she's associated with, how many students are currently enrolled in those programs, and then get a list of all of those students enrolled as well. So I know we didn't really have any general teaching faculty in the room, but I did want to share this with you as well. So we have a separate faculty portal. So for a faculty member that is not assigned to students and banners, so is not an advisor, they will still have access to a lot of information that they don't currently have, but it's a little more limited. So My Central is still going to be the official class roster, right? Because remember, Slate is not live data, so My Central is still going to be the official class roster because that is live. But this is almost like an enhanced class roster, if you will. So instead of just seeing a list of a bunch of names, you'll be able to see a list of a bunch of names, but
All this other stuff.
all this other stuff. So you can see quickly if a student has a hold on their account, if they have a FERPA on file, if they have an alert submitted, and then those little indicators or icons, if you hover over those icons, it's going to show you a little more information. So what hold does the student have on their account? How many alerts does the student have submitted on them? So if they have one, okay. But if they have 4 submitted alerts, maybe that's a cause of concern. Especially if I'm going to then also submit an alert. I should be like, ugh, this student really needs some intentional help. They'll be able to see what majors their students are, their class standing. So is there a class full of a bunch of seniors or freshmen, right? Student types, so how many new transfers do I have in that class? And does that make a difference? Who their primary advisor is, so if they need to reach out to someone, they can easily see maybe who they need to reach out to. If a student lives on campus, if they're an online student only, what else do I have on there? Athletes. So they can quickly see how many athletes they have and what sports. So maybe they can anticipate, okay, I might have several people out on Friday because they're traveling. And then student organizations. So this was another piece that we worked really hard. Thanks to Christina Kearns for getting this information for us. But even faculty can then see how many of their students are involved on campus and what organizations they belong to. Again, once we stand up academic alerts, so this is maybe a pain point on campus right now. So when faculty submit an alert on a student, sometimes they feel like it goes into a black hole. It doesn't, but there's not a whole lot of return communication, right? So faculty will be able to have access to this alerts tab as well. So any alert that they have submitted on a student, they can then kind of track and see where it's at, how many times has the student been contacted by advising or a coach or anything like that. And then they will get notifications whenever an alert has been resolved or closed, and kind of what that resolution was.
There'll be additional information once alerts is fully prepared, but it's not to replace Maxient. It's just for academic alerts like the week 5 check-ins that the undergrad advising office does or any other alerts that faculty want to do. It's not meant to replace the Maxient system for behavior or anything like that. That's still going to remain in place.
Yes.
On the little ones that have FERPA, if you hover over, is it going to give you the name of who you
Yeah.
released?
Yes.
So it basically just redisplays the comment in Space Mountain. So you'll hover over it and you can see what the student acknowledged on the form to be eligible to who and the PIN. So you'll have everything you need to verify with that conversation with that third party to do whatever you need to. Which I'm probably most excited about that from the faculty side, because right now faculty don't have a way to see that. And so they will often contact our office, which is fine, but that just adds additional steps in the process that we can really eliminate. So it will have all that information right there on the pop-up.
And then inside here, so faculty will also have access to ID photos. So if they click on an individual student, they'll get like a pop-up and be able to see ID photos as well. Okay, so what's next? Some of the projects that we are currently working on, if you visited Brenda's session earlier, Credit for Prior Learning, she kind of plugged this a little bit, but we are working on a Credit for Prior Learning workflow that will replace the paper document that has to go through 5 different offices and takes months to complete, it feels like. So we are going to have a digital process for that to hopefully make that a little smoother. Same thing with the general studies and individualized major proposals. So we are hoping to replace those paper forms that require multiple signatures right now. So that is in the works. As I mentioned earlier, we're working on text messaging. So we have kind of a proposal out for that to get that stood up. Academic alerts we are also working on. We have kind of a process mostly in place for that to hopefully replace what is happening right now in Achieve. And then drip campaigns. So I know I am working with Success Advising really closely. So this summer we're going to work on some drip campaigns for targeted populations. So mostly new freshmen, new transfers entering in this fall. So they do a lot of communication and outreach right now, and we're hoping to kind of automate some of that so that takes a little bit of the burden off of them. And we are hoping to get all of the advisors, undergraduate advisors, in this summer for a bunch of training, get them set up with a scheduler, all of that good stuff. Because like I said, we are hoping to replace the Achieve system, and the Achieve contract is up in December. So we're going to get them in. If you have thoughts, ideas, projects, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to talk through any of that. But I do have a very long wish list already. So we'll get you on the list, but no promises. I am one person. And we are also, so if you have any interest in kind of a dive deeper type of session with your individual offices or departments, we're happy to make individual visits as well. We've already done a few department visits, which has been really good. Okay. Questions? Thoughts? Yes.
First question is, where is access to Slate located? Is it in the UCM or my central blocks? Okay, so then my second question is, I have tried several times to get access to Slate and have gotten no response. So I didn't know, where do I need to go to get that access?
So yeah, right now, we do not have a link in My Central, but we are gonna work on that. Since obviously we're mostly built out now, so we might as well put a link on there, right? But yeah, individual access. So as I mentioned in the beginning, there's 3 different.
I've emailed and have gotten nothing, so I don't know where else to go to get that access.
Who are
For
you?
admissions?
JJ Holbrook.
Oh, for admissions.
Okay.
Well, I'm a chair, so
Yeah.
whatever access I can get.
I bet Chris can help you.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get you access.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, because it looks great, but I can't get into, you know.
Yeah, so right now, it is, one of the 3 of us, so myself, Jessica, or JJ, that can provide access to the 3 different slates. I can provide access to the Slate student
ROTC will be an option, but will military affiliation be an option?
If it's an attribute, it will show.
Okay, yep, and I know I sent those to you guys, you know, would my team have access? And those reports, are those all built, so we can start doing our stuff? Cause I know we met a while ago about it, but I didn't know if it was built out or not.
I know we have all of the attributes coming in, and all of that. I'll have to go look.
Okay. Cause I know, like, our team's not listed as an
I feel like
advisor,
we
but,
dumped you in there.
I thought we did too after our follow-up, but we can double check.
okay,
Yep.
thank you.
We would love to get you in there and use it.
I want to use some emails
And so something else that Christine mentioned was the scheduler. So right now, undergrad advising is just using the scheduling tools, but it's available. So if, yay! So if other people want to use that scheduler, it does integrate with Google Calendar. We have some instructions on how to do that. So if you are asking students to come meet with you and you don't already have a tracking mechanism, I know some people do. Faith has her own calendaring system for tutoring. That's fine, we're pulling that data in separately. Career Web Design, they have their own handshake system for scheduling. That's fine, we're pulling that in separately. But if you want to use a scheduling system, we can do that. And so that's probably more of a one-on-one conversation, so just get on calendars, we can kind of help you get synced up for that. We know that might not be a widely used tool, but it is a tool that's available if folks want to have that as an option.
And speaking of communications, so we do already have a bunch of templates kind of laid out. So offices can go in and plug in a template, put whatever content they want in there, and go, basically. So we worked with IMC to create a really nice, pretty headers. So yeah, we've been working on some templates.
So would we, like, if I wanna have, like, I saw the example, like, UCN, the logo, Military Veteran Services,
Yep.
would I request IMC to create one, or they're already in there?
We already have it.
Okay, perfect.
Yep, but we can, whenever you all are ready to start using it, we can certainly make a little template real quick for you if you want.
So we requested a lot of the support offices logos to begin with as we were kind of developing it. Because we knew we had officers who one would get on board and want to use it, but two we knew would use it. So we've already requested a lot of those so that it would be very consistent. That was the other thing that we really, when we were tasked with this project, is they wanted kind of consistent messaging to our students. So they could see, oh, this is coming from the university, this is a legitimate message. The other thing about this, when you send a message, it looks as if it's coming from the actual email. So we've been using it for 5+ years in the office. When I send an email through Slate, it looks like it's coming from registrar at UCMO or graduation at UCMO. Or if I'm sending it to Heather McGrath UCMO. So it looks like it's coming from me, even though I'm using that system to manage that mass communication, which I think is really great. One, for students to understand